The police were also at a loss, wondering how he could appear here without wearing clothes. And without hesitation, they sent him to the station. Here, he experienced bathing for the first time, learned to eat for the first time, and was even hit by someone for the first time. But none of this mattered. The key was that he didn't know who he was at all. The police couldn't find any information about him, nor did they know who his parents were. Most importantly, he didn't have a belly button. The female doctor was shocked, saying it was a medical miracle, but the family didn't think so, calling him a mute freak. And just then, yo, let's get some Jewish down there, although a bit rude, but after just one day, he actually learned to speak. The doctor quickly tested him to see his IQ age, and in just 5 minutes, he completed all the test questions correctly. This made the doctor interested in his brain, insisting on doing an MRI scan. But no one expected that his brain was developed to 70%, leaving Einstein far behind. That night, he quietly followed his sister out to a party. After a while, the police suddenly arrived to take the drunk sister back for discipline. Without a word, he was about to rush up to block the car. This scene shocked everyone. The police advised him to stay calm, but he wouldn't listen, so they took him back. However, they couldn't catch his hand, and he even took the handcuffs, angering the police to draw their baton. The police didn't want to continue losing face, so they left dejectedly. He also safely sent his drunk sister home. A few days later, he still couldn't remember who he was. The female doctor decided to keep him at home for treatment, caring for him like her own child, and even gave him a name, Carl. The family gradually accepted this big boy, but a new problem arose. Every night, he would sit by the bed staring at his parents. When he got really bored, he would go to the fridge to find something to eat, but he was only 10 days old and didn't know the taste of each food. Regardless of whether it was ingredients or seasonings, he stuffed everything into his mouth. Eggs looked round, but when bitten, they surprisingly had a fishy taste. Bananas were even more so. If not peeled, they only got more bitter the more he chewed. In no time, he ate himself into a beer belly. He intended to sit down and rest but accidentally touched the remote control. Watching Bruce Lee beating Jackie Chan on TV, he found it very exciting, but the sound was too loud and woke up the family. They found him mimicking the TV, and in just a few minutes, he learned Chinese kung fu. This couldn't go on, so his mother quickly took him to see a doctor. As expected, his brain was always in a state of high excitement. The doctor had never seen such a situation before. His teeth showed no signs of wear, as if they had just been polished. The strangest thing was that his stomach was as smooth as his back, and even going to Korea wouldn't diagnose such an effect. The doctor was completely baffled and casually prescribed him some sleep aids. But at night, Carl's eyes were still like light bulbs. His father suddenly had an idea to take him out for a run. Aha suddenly became tame. He could communicate with the dog using his mind. After returning home, my brother said he might be an alien and maybe the next day, the family couldn't find him. He had been on the lawn all night, waiting for his mother's call. The parents were worried his brain would be damaged. They took turns guarding the door, but the father overslept. After missing an important meeting, he raged. Carl was upset and decided to run away. Found in the forest where he was born, staring at the sky. Back home, Carl turned on the radio, hearing only noise. His parents were amazed he fell asleep, needing to sleep in the bathtub. A boy learned swimming in 5 minutes, but he feared water. To pursue Xiaomei, he jumped into the pool, almost suffocating but not surfacing. At the critical moment, a beautiful figure.
It was like-eyed Xiaomei who came over, but her body was uncooperative and refused to obey at this moment. The next day, she came again to learn swimming from Xiaomei, but Xiaomei said she was too clumsy and might only learn to float if she drowned. However, during the time Xiaomei went to the toilet, she completely mastered the buoyancy of water. When Xiaomei returned, she couldn't believe her eyes. How could she swim so fast? Creature couldn't keep up at all. Curious, she quickly came over to ask. The boy said his name was Carl, and because he was born without a navel, he could greatly reduce water resistance. River, he had many talents. Every time he took a bath, he didn't need to bring clothes. Just a shout to his sister would have her bring them. That day, his father was checking information, but the newly repaired computer suddenly broke down again. Carl looked at the screen full of garbled text and memorized it all in an instant. Then he went to another computer and frantically tapped the keyboard. In no time, the lost data was restored, but just such a rooftop player, the police suddenly came to the door. Suspecting Carl was related to a murder case because a body was found in the woods less than 10 meters from where Carl was discovered, and a special Mark was found nearby. His mother said Carl temporarily had no memory and probably couldn't help, so she let her go back to the house to watch American dramas, but the TV suddenly lost signal. She immediately found the manual, quickly read it in 5 seconds, and then knew it was an antenna problem. But there was no ladder at home, so she had to climb to the second-floor roof. Carl said he had good news for her. The family prepared a new room with a unique bed. But when the mother tidied the room, she found Carl's drawings formed that mysterious symbol. The boy was a suspect from birth, but police found no murder evidence, only that he was born in the woods with a sea skeleton nearby. A mysterious symbol was found, and his behavior raised police suspicion. He can cut a venomous snake in 0.1 seconds and precisely grasp its throat. If no one stops him, he can stay in the pool all day until he drinks all the water. Most importantly, he surprisingly has no navel and has lost his memory. The police advised him to see a doctor immediately, otherwise the case cannot proceed. However, the doctor's examination results were shock. His brain is 10 times more developed than Einstein's. With astonishing talents in mathematics and physics, as expected, he can accurately predict when the wind will start, when it will rain, and even when there will be a power outage, almost more accurately than the heavens. On this day, a few people wanted to play in the yard, but he sensed something unusual around him, as if the air had subtly changed. Suddenly, he grabbed his companion and ran. That's right, he successfully prevented his friend from being struck by lightning. The police were even more furious when they heard about it, saying that with his skills, it wouldn't be surprising if he killed many people, but they just couldn't find direct evidence. Helplessly, they could only let him go to school first. However, when playing basketball, he still wasn't lucky enough. As long as he casually threw a three-pointer, it would go straight through the hoop. Even if he threw it at a power pole, the basketball would bounce off the roof and immediately fall into the basket. The coach immediately made him the team's main player. His parents were very happy for him when they heard, but at the same time, they slowly began to have doubts about him. Why did he have to sleep in the bathtub? And why did he draw those pictures that sounded like the special symbols by the Sea Valley? But what they didn't know was that as soon as he slept in the bathtub, he would dream. He wanted to use this method to help himself recover his memory. Sometimes he would dream of swimming with Xiao Mei, but what he dreamed of most was a man in black. The boy was just hypnotized and he wanted to know when he would win the lottery. But the image he saw in his mind was of a university doctor being murdered, and this doctor was the person he often dreamed about. When the doctor asked him who the murderer was, he said a bunch of words that were simply incomprehensible. His mother took the recording home to study it carefully, but she couldn't figure out the mystery. At this moment, his brother came over and said he must be an alien because his speaking speed was abnormal. This remark enlightened the mother, and when she slowed down the recording, she indeed heard a series of numbers. The father found out that it was a coordinate location, but strangely, the area had long been sealed off. Meanwhile, Carl also arrived at the school, convinced that he had some connection with the doctor, and he was right. There was a set of photos of the doctor before his death, and one of the people in the photos looked exactly like him, but the photo was dated 1985. What on earth was going on? After much investigation, the person in the photo was named Byron, who had done research with the doctor, but he had been missing for more than 20 years. Carl found a manuscript from the materials he left behind, which also had a coordinate, and it was the same as the one his parents found. This rekindled Carl's interest, and he was determined to go there and have a look.
Carl and another person were wrestling. Carl pretended to lose and tried to escape. The masked man couldn't catch him. Suddenly, Carl removed his hat, revealing Tom, the security guard. Tom warned Carl not to investigate further, or his family would be in danger. Carl decided to stop investigating his background. His family supported him despite not understanding. Unbeknownst to Carl, the place he visited was under surveillance by a mysterious company, and he was their test subject.